And right as the on-air thing goes, the fucking dogs across the street tell me they're fighting.
They gotta time it perfectly.
That's
I'm gonna go shut my window real quick.
Alright, go ahead and go shut your window.
Little yappy little shits. You know, all you need is just like a strip of bacon and some antifreeze. Not that I'm condoning that.
No.
And now we sit here and awkwardly wait for Matt to close his window.
Yeah, because it's a whole 3 feet away.
That's quite a travel.
Well, Steve, thankfully for us, you're actually fit, because if you were a fat fuck, then that would have taken us 30 minutes.
I would have been out of breath.
Fell out of his chair.
I had to roll my office chair all the way over to the window and pull it down. I exerted myself.
Yeah, you gotta get on one of those mini scooters that you see in like Walmart. People riding.
South Park did an episode about that where
I'm sure
all these fat people are going around. You know, they can't walk to get food at Walmart, but they'll drive these little rascal cart things.
I have a
like Oreos and shit.
Yeah, I have a glorious story to go with that, actually.
Good, say it. Well, fat shame.
Right. No shame. No, it was funny though, because this was like freaking. It was after I gave birth to my second or third little girl.
You.
And of course, afterwards, you really can't walk around very much. You're painfully tired. You're painfully exhausted. You're painfully painful. You get the idea. Well, you don't, but you get, yeah. So, anyways, so Jacob went ahead and got me to Walmart, get me a little break away from the kids and stuff like that. And they had the scooters there because I can't walk around very much without collapsing in pain. So I went ahead, took on one of the scooters, and this wider lady came by, and she saw me take it, and she just starts complaining of how this skinny little thing took away her cart and stuff like that. And I was like, well, first of all, I need this. Second of all, you need to walk for obvious reasons.
Yeah. See, that's kind of the funny thing is there should be some natural equilibrium where if you eat so much you can't move to get up and get more food, then you should like start to shrink to the point where you can get up and move and get more food.
Yeah.
But those little rascal carts kind of fuck all that up.
Oh, they do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I mean, granted, if you're like, you know, obviously handicapped or if you're elderly, then that's one thing, though. But if you're just too fat to walk, then you shouldn't be going down the fucking Walmart aisles getting candy corn Oreos, you know?
Yeah.
Like South Park says.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
But speaking of big fat failures, Mighty No.9.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Professional segue.
Exactly. No fucking hell. So, Mighty No.9 has been fucking amazing as far as just how big of a letdown that's been. I've seen in the Steam forum some comparison of like the concept art that they had and the art that they basically got all, what was it, $5 million for.
Wow.
And a comparison shot of what the ending result was, and it's just fucking abysmal. And of course the guy is like, well, it's better than nothing, right? And it's like, no, fucker.
No.
It's not. So some people in the Steam forums were like donating like $100, $500 to this Mighty No.9 project, and they got fucked.
Yeah, they did.
Uh-huh.
So,
well, speaking of, it's better than nothing, I think if I can even Sega took a stab at it, because apparently Sonic has an official Twitter account for some reason, and
Yeah,
there was a post. Yeah, and there was a post by them written as Sonic saying it's like, "Hey, congrats on the release. I guess it's better than nothing." And then there's an image of him shrugging.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that.
oh fucking hell! What a waste! What a goddamn waste! But luckily, I've been listening to some of the new Nintendo stuff for Nintendo NX, and apparently some of the reliable information that I've been reading and listening to online has said that they're going to go away from like Blu-ray discs and they're going to go back to memory cards.
Really?
Yeah, like memory cartridges, because right now, originally back in the days of the Nintendo 64, they were fairly small compared to like a CD-ROM or even a DVD, and it was just became impractical. You got shit textures, all that kind of stuff. But now that flash memory is not only more affordable and is also like getting larger, I mean like capacity-wise, It's also like 3 times faster than a Blu-ray disc. So you're talking like a difference between like 30 megabits per second or 30 megabytes per second to like 90 megabytes per second. So I don't know. I mean, the hardware specs on the NX are sounding pretty damn good.
Yeah, it is.
Although we still haven't seen the controller, Nintendo is still going, we're going to change the way you play games, and it's like, fucking hell. Fucking hell. Quit trying to beat a dead horse with the whole, we're going to do some funky way to play a game like the Wii and try to recreate that fluke. And that's what it was a fluke.
Yeah.
So.
Well, if at first you don't succeed, and then you don't succeed with the Wii U, and it's one of the, if not the worst selling home console in your company's history,
Yeah.
surely instead of changing course, which technically they kind of are by upgrading their hardware, surely what you got to do is try something else and have that U-shaped. Was that? Did they ever clarify whether or not those schematics were fake or not for the controller?
I mean the two-headed dildo
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the two-headed python.
Two-hated.
Oh, it is going to be hated once it's released.
make it so
Yeah.
make it so female Nintendo fans can DP themselves.
No. Jeez.
Well, they call it the Clipper.
Oh.
But no, they I haven't heard anything about the controller. But still, even then, the NX specs that I've read are still like, if you compare it to like the Xbox Scorpio and the PlayStation Neo, the newer iterations, the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, it's still kind of old hardware. So I don't know. I think that even though Nintendo's making a couple of good moves, they're still kind of like the last horse in the race.
Well, I saw a video from, what's his face? You like the guy, ReviewTechUSA?
Yep.
Where he talked about how basically some YouTube channel did an interview with Reggie during this E3, and they did ask him about the hardware specs of the NX. They were pretty candid about how Nintendo's been lagging behind all this stuff. I mean, obviously the Wii U was only slightly more powerful than the GameCube, whereas the PS3 and the Xbox 360 were much more powerful. Then we enter the new generation, and the Wii U is not as powerful as the PS4 and the Xbone. And so now they're doing the NX, but they're still, like, the specs are impressive, but they're not as powerful as the PS4 Neo and the whatever the other one's called, Scorpio, I believe. And Reg's response was something along the lines of, it's like, well, it's not really about the hardware, like we at Nintendo believe in producing games that appeal to everyone, so basically they're regurgitating the same points they did during the last generation when they were apologizing for the Wii U, and when they were spinning the whole let's make a gamer out of everyone campaign during the days of the Wii. So, I mean, the ReviewTechUSA got a lot of hate for that video from Nintendo apologists.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Yeah, who would have thought?
I swear, some of these Nintendo fans, I'm going to go ahead and say it, some of you Nintendo fans are fucking ISIS.
Wow, okay.
Now I'm imagining these fanatics trying to behead someone with like those Wii Sports accessories, the plastic ones.
Miyamada Akbar.
Good job, Max. That was great.
Nice one. You get applause for that.
Oh boy. So what the hell was I talking about before I made myself a target?
You're talking about the hardware specs being up.
Oh yeah. So most of the comments on that video are basically, it's like, well, it's not all about the hardware. It's about the kids. Like, okay, yeah, it's not all about the hardware. I agree. It's about the games. But here's the problem: it wouldn't hurt the NX to have stronger hardware, or at least hardware that's compatible with the competitors or even the PC. Because this is how we can tell they're apologists, because, like, again, a stronger hardware would not deter from the NX having great games, great first-party games. In fact, if the hardware is strong enough, maybe we'll get better third-party games.
Mm-hmm.
Which, again, if the NX has more appeal to more people, it's going to generate more money, which I would wager that Nintendo could use after the disappointing sales of the Wii U.
Let's just talk about Allison Road being canceled. That was
Yes.
Oh, no.
For no reason.
That was just completely out of left field. It looked so promising. People were hyped for it. Hell, I'm not into horror, and I was hyped for it.
I'm just wondering what caused it. I mean, was it like budget issues, or was there like too much creative differences between the developers and the studio, or what?
It was something about, well, I can't really say for sure because there's a mutual agreement to end the whole collaboration, but I'm thinking it has to probably do something with publishing rights, maybe.
Publishing rights?
Yeah, or something of that effect.
It could even be like ownership. I mean, maybe one group wants the ownership of the game and the other one wants it too, and they're like, I don't know. You think that would be worked out before they sign the contract?
Yeah, some people get greedy, I guess.
Well, foresight is 2020, and I guess the people only had 10/10 for foresight.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because you think you just want to make the game, so then they have to finally go, wait, what do we do after we make the game? How do we distribute it? Like, who gets signed more of the rights? The creative team who actually brings the game to life, or the person who thought of the game and had the ideas in their head? So, do they go 50-50?
Ideally, yes, but...
Yeah, I was going to say, that would be the way to go.
That would be the way to go, but not always the case.
Well, apparently not.
All I have to say is that it'd be kind of nice if we had an official statement from the developers that actually explained something, as opposed to fuck all, as the official statement did. Because they had promised one like 2 weeks ago, then there was silence for a week, if not more than that, and then there's just like 2 paragraphs from them saying that, well, we decided to go our separate ways. That's it. Okay. There goes that promising idea. And now all we have left as far as horror goes is that PT knockoff that Capcom is trying to turn into the next Resident Evil game.
Well, hopefully they actually, stick to it. And it is actually pretty interesting as things do change between playthroughs.
I'm not saying it's not interesting. It's kind of blatant what they're doing, where it's like, well, Silent Hills fell through the floor, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our popular survival horror game franchise and we're going to rebuild it into something completely different. And for some reason it's still called Resident Evil.
Well, yeah,
it's following the market. And that's the problem.
But I mean, they're banking on the fact that they have a well-established IP. So they don't want to do anything, too radically. They don't want to do anything too brand new because then people are going to be like, what the fuck is this shit?
Well, people said Resident Evil 6, so my argument is...
With this one, Resident Evil 6, they had to do something different.
But again, even Silent Hills PT was pretty different from, last several Silent Hills.
Exactly.
Especially the last several Silent Hills, I mean...
Well, the change for them is to make sense. It was... God, his name is blanking on me. Del Toro was making it, so his style was showing blatantly through, but...
Yeah. Well, that, and I see the route they're going with this Resident Evil version of the game. It actually kind of makes sense, because I used to play those, what was it, freaking Resident Evil survival games. It was like File 2 or something like that, where you played as various survivors throughout Raccoon City. And there was different sections that you went to, and each section actually had a bit of a creepy story to it. About this guy, he went nuts and butchered his family or something like that, or he went rogue and started experimenting on his kids and stuff like that, and he wasn't even a part of Umbrella. Wow. And now you got this story where you're locked in this house, and you hear a tale about this guy and this creepy-like family and stuff like that, and it's like, well, okay, that kind of makes sense. This is a little more on the mellow, low side. You don't... Well, like I said, we didn't see any zombies yet, so...
Well, I've heard that the original ideas for Resident Evil 4 was to go more of like a paranormal ghost route.
Oh, yeah. So.
Oh, thank God they did that.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what they're going back to, with obviously following in PT's footsteps because. I mean, I think the what's the latest Resident Evil games? Those what are they called?
We don't know.
We don't know. Resident Evil, we don't know.
Well, the ones that came after 6, I've heard that they've been trying to.
Umbrella. Umbrella Chronicles, or.
That might be them. I can't remember what they are. They're not memorable. Let's just say that though. But they were trying to go back to a survival horror angle.
Oh, Revelations. Those are the ones.
Was it
Was that the set? Revelations, huh?
Yeah, there's one set in like an ocean liner of some sort.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's them. So yeah, they're trying to get back to like genuine horror after the backlash of Resident Evil 6, which was action schlock.
Zombie tanks.
Fucking hell.
That was bound to happen.
Yeah.
But it's showing the market because it shows that people do want these games and they keep getting denied every time.
I know.
First it was PT, then Allison Road, now Revelations. Hopefully Resident Evil 7, I guess.
Yeah.
Hopefully they actually follow through with it.
Yeah, because it looks real good.
Oh, Natalie's here. Hey, congratulations on Brexit.
Yay. It's
Yay.
such a victory. Democracy, finally. Isn't it great that we don't get, our laws decided by people who are outside our country that we never voted for?
Well, isn't it like, let's say there was like an American Union where it was like Canada, Mexico, United States, and all of South America and Central America too? Wouldn't it be like as if like Brazil dictated the American laws on trade?
Mm-hmm.
And nobody in America elected these people who dictate our trade?
Well, I mean, it's so retarded. I mean, according to the EU laws, we're not allowed to catch the fish that swim on our own shores. So we literally have to wait for another country to come to our shores, fish our fish, and then sell them back to us.
Is this socialism?
It's slave mentality is what it is.
Oh, it's almost like a socialism of your resources, isn't it?
Oh, it is, of course.
Don't worry, our country's in good
I was
hands.
pissed off as all fuck about Kit Harington, bitch. All these celebrities, but Kit Harington was like, it's like your great grandfather invented this shitter. Fuck off.
Again, it's the rich people that wanted to stay in because they benefit from it. The thing is that because we're out, it's easier for small people to set up businesses, which threatens the big businesses that already exist. So it cancels out their monopoly, which is why they want it to stay in the EU.
But yeah, they want to maintain the status quo. They want to make sure that it keeps all other competitors out. I mean, you see the same thing in America with a lot of their. I'm getting on political fucking high horse. Whew. But yeah, there's a lot of like trade issues and stuff. A lot of laws are set in place just to help keep the in power.
Mm-hmm.
But fucking
Yeah, we really don't have any argument with you there.
Kit Harington. That reminds me. I was playing the Telltale Game of Thrones game the other day, and I've only got up to the end of the first episode, and I just can't. I mean, I'm a Game of Thrones fan. I've read the books, seen all the episodes and everything, and I just cannot get into it.
Really?
And I think one of the things is because of the nature of the dialogue, and it's a branching dialogue system, but every response they have to whatever you put down has to be interchangeable. The acting is like really stiff.
Oh, I'd imagine.
I don't know about Jon Snow. Tyrion was good though.
Well, I haven't played the Jon Snow bit yet because
no
again,
spoilers.
I'm only at the end of episode 1, so like the bit where Ramsay like shows up.
No spoilers.
I didn't spoil anything. Shut up.
That's okay. I'm not gonna play it, so.
No, go ahead and spoil it.
Go ahead and spoil it then.
But no, I mean like I don't know. I can't get into it. It's almost like there's so many like other houses that they could have used in the Telltale game. Why did they choose to make one up?
Well, the reason why they decided to go with an entirely different new family is the obvious answer is because they wanted it to be their story, and your choices dictate the outcome of the story, which technically they don't really do, as always. But that would be my guess, that Telltale wanted to do something of their own in this universe, as opposed to just being kind of like, how Star Wars has those like expanded novels where they write stories. Yeah, pretty much. They take the character from the movie that only had like 5 seconds of screen time, and then they write an entire backstory about him. So I would imagine Telltale didn't want to do that. They didn't want to basically ghostwrite for J.R.R. Martin and expand the universe that he
But that's
created.
what these games feel like. They just feel like fan fiction. They don't feel like their authentic characters. And also the characters that exist in the show that they've put in the games, a lot of them don't, really act like like their counterparts. Like, I don't want to spoil too much, but the bit where you're playing as like the hand Marjorie for her help, and she comes back and she's got like her dress ripped off, and she said like, "Oh, Joffrey didn't appreciate me asking him for help or whatever." Marjorie's character, she seems like she knows how to manipulate Joffrey, and I don't think she would ever find herself in a situation where she's actually assaulted by him, because her whole shtick is that she knows how to, control him.
Right, she's the one who knows how to like tame the rabid dog. I mean, she basically has him wrapped around her finger, and that's what pisses Cersei off more than anything else.
Mm-hmm. Because she can't control him, even though she's his mother.
Well, the only reason why that scene is in the game in the first place is because you try to ask her to manipulate Joffrey to help you and your family, and that doesn't work. So the only reason that scene is there is to add an extra element of tension, where you tried to ask Marjorie for help, it didn't work, and now you're kind of on shaky grounds with her, because if you ask for anything else, it's going to sabotage the relationship you have with her, and so on and so forth. Not saying it's the greatest, not plot twist, whatever it is, a plot development and whatnot, but it is what it is. I mean, the thing about the cameo... What?
Oh, I was going to say, it sounds like it's trying to keep you on that straight and narrow path, like to maintain the narrative, to keep you from deviating and branching out. I mean, it's a linearity of Telltale games.
Well, yeah, what else do you expect? That's what they've been doing all this time. And the truth about the appearances of the actors from the show in the game is just a nice little bonus. It's not like you can actually, like in, I am going to spoil a little bit, but it's not much of a spoil, but the guy who goes to the wall, what's his name? I think Garrett Tuttle.
Yep.
In one of the episodes, they mentioned the expedition that Jon Snow led, and I think it was season 3 when, like, parts of the Night's Watch, they decided to rebel, and they stayed at the house of that one patriarch who had like 70,000 daughters that he kept copulating with. So they talk about that, and Jon Snow even approaches you and asks if you'd want to volunteer to go with him, which I decided to do because, hey, this sounds interesting, why not? But of course, because Telltale once again wrote themselves into a corner where they have to work with an already existing continuity, because Garrett Tuttle was not there during that episode, something happens where you cannot go as a result of it. So all it was just them dangling something in front of you. It's like, hey, remember this thing from the show? And then it doesn't have any payoff, any real payoff at the very least.
Well, that, and there's also just a bunch of really stupid stuff, like right at the very beginning of the game, when you're playing as the Squire, and the Red Wedding happens, and you're about to leave that guy, right? He says...
Yeah, same character, by the way, Garrett.
Yeah, no matter what you say, he's like, oh, if you say, oh, I won't leave you, he's like, oh, you must. And he's like, if you say, I will leave you, he's like, all right, then go. So you leave him no matter what. But then all of his responses, it comes up with a little thing in the corner saying, oh, he'll remember that. But, I mean, he dies like 5 seconds later, so who cares? Like, oh, you're going to remember that, so?
But, Natalie, it's a tough moral decision. Don't you understand? And I'm not sure if there are even any repercussions if you do abandon the guy, like the moment you see that the guards are brandishing their swords. Yeah, if I think about it, that decision has fuck all consequences. Maybe like
Telltale.
There's a lot of those decisions.
I mean, it's its own story.
It comes up with a thing at the end, like 4 different things saying, oh, you and 62% of other players decided to save this guy or whatever, and there's only 4 of those, and I think those are the only decisions that really matter, and the rest of it's there is just like decoration.
Well, there's always like just one major decision per episode that really matters. Like to The Walking Dead Season 1, do you save Carly or do you save the other guy, Doug I believe his name is, the IT guy? And so then based on that, either character X or Y gets to stick around for the next 2 episodes, but that's really about it. And the same thing in Game of Thrones, I don't want to spoil it, but there are decisions like that where either character X or Y survives based on your decision. But the problem is that because the story has to keep going on, the next episode afterwards, like the 2, regardless of who survives, their roles are pretty interchangeable. It's not like your house is going to either live or die based on who you choose, even though one of the characters is a more seasoned leader, so to speak, whereas the other one is more of a kind of like a rebel who does things their own way and may not even be a great leader, may not be able to lead his people in a rebellion. So again, it's what we talked about before. It's their philosophy of no player left behind. Everyone has to make it to the end, regardless of whether or not it makes any sense. By the way, Matt, you missed your chance to rant and rave about The Last of Us 2, also known as God of War 4.
Believe me, I've already said everything I want to say about that piece. Just compare the God of War 3 E3 trailer from like 2009 with this one, and see how little fucking gameplay there is.
Yeah, and here's the funny thing about God of War. I'm like, I thought he died in God of War 3. I thought he was dead. I mean, and I'm like, and people trying to say, well, but this finally humanizes Kratos. I'm like, dude is one of the most. You can't just give a dude a son. He's like, okay, he's good now. I'm like, you know how many people he killed? Not just his wife and daughter. You know, all the innocents he's killed, all the chaos and destruction.
All the innocent people, yeah, exactly. All the innocent people he killed.
He already felt bad by killing his wife and daughter.
Yeah, he didn't care for
He killed himself after the first game. Spoilers.
Yeah.
Well, the game's been out long enough, so spoilers.
I guess that's not human enough.
Yeah. The one thing also that was interesting
it's like Dune was this flash of the plan that gave me that middle finger to that story games, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if they wanted to bring God of War back, fair enough, but have it someone else than Kratos if you're going to have a difference.
Ice, I'll be right back for a quick second.
Like maybe a new character.
Yeah, I mean, you can do a lot with Norse mythology because...
Like Thor?
Well, I was going to say, right now, like, Marvel is really the only ones who are doing anything with Norse mythology. Like, people know of Thor because of the Marvel movies, but you can have a much more badass, much more gritty and violent version in this game. I mean, if they could have easily had... hold on a second. Mute. There we go. They could have easily had you play as Thor, a badass version of Thor, not the pretty boy Chris Hemsworth version from the movies, but
that would be pretty cool.
Instead, we get Kratos with a beard and his little bastard child.
Punish Kratos.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't even have a problem with necessarily like him being like a dad and trying to like scale shit down and add like a little bit more dimension to the character because he's just Mr. Rage. But the gameplay just doesn't look and doesn't feel like what
a character action game.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they want to get in their direction, fine. But why is it essentially a third-person shooter? Why that? Why that?
They've got to tell a story. That's why.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, tell a story. Add a third-person shooter on there.
Fine. I mean, it just feels lazy.
Matt, at the very least,
third-person shooter.
I mean, okay, the footage we saw in the E3 trailer was all scripted as all fuck, is what I got out of it. But it could just be the beginning, a little tutorial level, and you're kind of getting used to it. But compared to, like, again, the God of War 3 trailer where you're just going after a horde of fucking monsters as you're gutting centaurs and fucking tearing off the horns off of chimeras and ramming them down the fucking heads and taking on legions of zombies as the giant fire titan is trying to fight Helios as Olympus burns. Here you walk forward, tell your child to kill a caribou. You scold your child for not killing it.
1886 BC.
You kill one bad guy, and you walk forward. You kill two scripted bad guys, but then you get a troll monster or whatever the fuck it is. But then that starts kind of looking like a God of War game. But then you have to stop in the middle of that God of War game to get your child to kill him, so that you have this like little heartfelt moment where your kid's like, I don't know if I can shoot him, Daddy. And then the entire thing just feels like it's scripted as all fuck, and it looks boring.
Oh yeah, that's the biggest insult.
That's how you get people to feel for Kratos, Even though
you can still be like, I'm not even saying he has to be like a homicidal maniac like he was in the original though, but this does not feel like a game. It feels like I'm watching a movie.
Bad if he was a homicidal maniac.
Well,
he's always been one, but.
All right, so Chrissy, what do you have for us?
Actually, I was just reading a article on Google News from the Detroit Free Press that says 10 reasons to ignore the Ghostbusters haters, and most of it is just basically social justice whining.
I believe it. Sorry, go
Well,
ahead.
that's the only thing that movie has going for it is the social justice whining. These girls are really good in the movie, and they deserve that opportunity. And it's like,
They all look like bitch dykes.
whoa!
I am
that
sorry,
was from
but they
Mel,
do.
not me.
That
Well,
was
she's
from
not
me.
wrong.
No, I mean, look at these women. It's like, oh, okay, I bet none of them have a man in mind. Not that there's anything wrong against lesbians, but there's just no variety in them at all. I mean, the original
Variety
Ghostbusters.
or femininity?
Both. It's just, you just look in them, they're just the same, except for like one short one, but that's about it. And, I mean, I can't wrap my mind around this, because the original ones, they at least had something going for them.
They had personalities.
Yeah, they also had
Charisma.
personalities.
Humor.
Yeah, and just by looking...
They all look, unique. Jewish Canadians.
And
Not
just,
sure if that's actually right or not, though, but I'm pretty sure a couple of them are.
yeah.
It's kind of like they're talking about, the gender gap in acting and directing, and it's like, you guys are encouraging women to take like gender studies and women's studies and everything else, and then you want to complain that there's a gender gap in some of these careers, and it's like, there's no women that want to do it.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, why do we need an all-female Ghostbuster movie, I mean, we could do another movie with an all-female cast. That's just fine, but we don't need to, like, literally force someone else's gender to replace another, It really doesn't make much sense to me. I mean, like I said, if the new Ghostbuster had, like, 2 girls and 2 guys, there's your equality right there. Yeah, and what... No, 1 blaster.
I think it's because writing your own material takes too much work.
Yeah, pretty much. They gotta replace one gender with another. And it's like, oh, okay, that's not equality at all. That's just you're trying to replace some and enforce another gender upon it.
Matt, what's the name of the YouTube channel that's made several videos about like all the behind-the-scenes trials and tribulations that were going on with Ghostbusters? Something like Midnight's Edge, I think.
Yeah, I think it's Night's Edge, Midnight's Edge, something along those lines.
Yeah, the reason why I bring it up is because, Mal's asking all these rhetorical questions like, why do this to Ghostbusters? Well, the problem is it doesn't even matter what the property is. We know for a fact from, like, the Sony leak that, what's-her-face, Amy something, like the big honcho at Sony, like, her whole thing is feminism. Like, she's been pushing this horseshit for years. Like, she was the one who was behind the idea to make that all, like, female Spider-Man spin-off, and they were even gonna call the movie The Glass Ceiling because, who doesn't want to see a movie about Aunt May struggling to be a nurse? So she's been doing this thing for years, and Ghostbusters is just a convenient, recognizable property that she decided to butcher. It's not like there was any kind of unique vision behind this particular iteration of Ghostbusters. Nope, it's just they try to push this. Yeah, they just try to push this agenda, and Paul Feig is just a useful idiot who keeps making these. Again, I'm not even a fan of the guy. I haven't watched many of his movies, but it seems like all that he does these days is just these comedies involving Melissa McCarthy. So he was just a convenient director, a yes man to go along with what the studios want. So that's why we get this movie in our hands.
He was like Sony's Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder or Brett Ratner, yes.
Whoever has no backbone and just does whatever the studio wants, and then turns into this big gigantic clusterfuck.
Am I too late to shit on Mighty No.9?
It's never too late to shit in the game, sir.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I think they barely talked about it, so yeah, go right ahead.
$5 million and 3 years of development plus pushbacks. Yeah, you have every right to shit on Mighty No.9.
And it's mediocre at best.
Yeah, well, exactly. And for sure, check out 20XX. That one's pretty decent.
Yeah, I read your link about that, but yeah, and to be fair, those were some very nice PS2 graphics they had on Mighty No.9. I mean, just superb for the PS2 hardware technology.
Oh man, and the nostalgia just hit me so hard. It just hit me right in the feels.
It hit me in my 2002.
It hit me in my 2002 version of myself.
I mean, at least if they did like the retro-looking like Super Nintendo graphics, I mean, that would have been better than with the shit 3D. I think like 20XX retro, looking Super Nintendo type graphics. Those the 2D look perfectly fine.
Well, and a lot of people are saying that Mega Man X8, like the last, true Mega Man X game, they said that the graphics on that actually look better than Mighty No. 9. So, take from that what you will.
Is that the one with burn to the ground, burn to the ground, burn to the ground, or is that the one after it?
I think this is the one after it.
Flame mandrel, burn to the ground, burn to the ground. Oh my God, shut up.
Good thing I stopped at Mega Man X3.
Probably for the best.
Which I emphasize because Mighty No. 9 promised you'd be able to transform into normal enemies and be able to use their powers, but apparently we just pretended that didn't happen.
Just sitting over top a trash can with on fire with a bunch of papers. No, we never said that. I don't know what you're talking about. Just burn everything. Burn all the evidence.
Well, Max and Matt, I have to ask you, as people who do so much crowdfunding, where do you think Mighty No. 9 really went wrong? Could it have been these promises they never delivered on? Could it be when he let his girlfriend do the art?
Oh, I totally forgot about that.
Hard to say. Usually, most Kickstarters they seem to go wrong right from the get-go.
Yeah, usually mismanagement's usually the biggest thing because people they get a bunch of money and then they start doing scope creep and crap and they don't realize there's more overhead than they think there is. But Mighty No. 9, I have no idea where it went wrong. I didn't follow it that closely.
Yeah, neither did I.
Neither did I, but I'm noticing an unfortunate trend where, initially, me and Matt, we've made several discussions about how, early access Kickstarter, they have potential, it gives smaller developers a chance to realize their larger vision. Maybe they don't have the necessary funds, so they present the idea to the fans, to the gamers out there, and we can get that game, but I don't know, with something like Broken Age and Mighty No. 9 and the fact that we talked about this in the Steam refunds, wasted effort, I forgot the statistic, but I think something like only 25%, 1/4 of the early access games actually get released as real games at the end. So, I don't know, I'm slowly but steadily losing my faith in this whole, crowdfunding thing because we don't even see, there are some successful projects out there. Most of them escape my mind right now, but then you also have stuff like
potato salad.
Yes, obviously the most successful one. Is it the most successful one, by the way?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's up there, but then you also have stuff like where people with some clout, people with a pedigree like Tim Schafer or the guy who made Mighty No. 9 / Mega Man. They come there, they make all these promises, and then the game is released, and it's not nearly close, not nearly as good as what they'd promised.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I mean, there's some hope with Bloodstained because that is from the creator of Castlevania. Not Castlevania, but Symphony of the Night. But even then, I'm kind of given Kickstarter's shoddy track record, I'm cautiously optimistic, but also worried.
Well, again, I still think that Kickstarter is a way for people to invest more than you're gonna get a.
It's not a surefire thing, yes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, any investment can go awry. If some guy comes up and says, "Hey, I'm gonna make the next big car," can't remember exactly that one movie based on the dude who created the cars. Fuck. But anyways, so some guy comes up and says, "Hey, I have a new vision for something," and no one else will fund it, and he goes to the public to try funding it. It's better than a boardroom of people saying, 2 or 3 bankers saying, "No, you can't do it." I would rather people have the opportunity to do it. Granted, invest wisely. If somebody fails to, live up to the hype and deliver, they're never going to get crowdfunded again.
You say that, but what's their name? Double Fine also get the second Kickstarter funded afterwards, and I don't want to bring her into the conversation again, but Anita also has a second Kickstarter currently going on, and people are still giving her money, despite the fact that, as far as I know, she never even finished the first series. Trolls vs.
Yeah, hey, when you're in a cult, free money.
Yeah, exactly. The cult personality.
Yep.
Yay.
So, Katie, how many rotten corpses have you found while playing Pokemon Go?
I haven't found any, and I'm really upset because Rotten Corpse is a really strong and rare Pokemon, and I need him for my collection, and I haven't found one yet, so I'm upset.
In the YouTube chat, Kuna Drake was going to talk about this, so we should probably be the first. She should be the first person to bring in, so she can get in on all this Pokemon corpse finding goodness.
Okay, I'll invite her, but then again, I also don't want to spoil her too much. But while I do that, why don't the two of you make sure that the conversation goes along?
Oh, I can tell the stories about my new job. Can I do that?
Yep, go ahead. Well, first of all, I just want to say that hey, thanks everybody for showing up. This is a open Patreon. Anyone of any Patreon tier can visit, and open forum member live chat thing. So thanks for turning out, and we will try not to disappoint you too badly.
Okay, so I have a new job, and I'm not going to say where it is, but it's basically, I just call it the Weeaboo store, because I work at a place where we sell anime and anime paraphernalia.
I know you showed me some of the merchandise that you sell, like the waterproof resin action figures. And what was the name of that comic? What was the name of that comic that I started laughing my ass off about? It was called like Peachy Butts.
Oh yeah, something like that. Yeah. But anyway,
that classic.
Max knows all about it. But anyway.
Of course.
So one of our customers, because I'm like customer service, so we get like phone calls and answer emails and stuff, and one of our customers is legit the Dark Master. So, like, this guy calls in my first day there, and he's like, God, what did he say? He's like, do you guys have a Street Fighter? And we're like, well, let's check. And so then we look, and we're like, yeah, we've got this Street Fighter like anime, and he's like, no, the adult one with the nudity. And like my coworker is like on the thing, and she's like, I don't see any adult ones. And I'm like in the background trying not to like crack up. And then like, and so then she's like, no, I don't think we have that one. He's like, oh, okay. And then he hangs up.
Disappointed. 2 out of 10. Unsubscribed.
Yeah, and then apparently my coworker's like, yeah, that's James. He calls in a lot. He's a regular customer. We used to call him the Tiny Toons guy because he'd call up and be like, do you guys have Tiny Toons? And we're like, no.
The XXX version.
Yeah, but he like sometimes he calls and like there's other people in the back. We don't know like how old he is. We think we have like theories he's like 40 and living in
47.
some kind of like. Yeah, he's like 40 and like living in some kind of like special people's home, because sometimes in the background we hear other people talking, and then he'll be like, yeah, I want to say, shut up, and then he'll start talking again, and then sometimes his dad calls in for him, and his dad is like this kind, his dad is like this kindly. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say his dad is like this kindly old man who's like, yes, my son would like to order some new anime. Thank you very much. It's like this old grandpa. And then fucking James is like the Dark Master.
Oh my
and
God.
like he'll get like there was one time where
I want to know if you have the Street Fighter nudity patch.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like there's just like, and then there's another customer named Marshall who just like he'll call in and he'll be like, okay, do you have this in stock? We'll be like, yeah, and then he'll talk to us for like 20 minutes. We'll be like, so how's your day going? So yeah, like I took this karate class and it was really crazy, but like it was like paying $20 every week to get my ass kicked, so then I didn't do that no more. And we're like, Marshall, like you're keeping us on the phone to tell us about your life. It's like, do you have any friends? And that guy's legit like 41 because he had a birthday. He's like, "It's my birthday tomorrow. I'm gonna be 41," and we're like, "Oh, okay." So yeah, that's my new job.
Wow. The only way this would be more depressing is if you were to work in a funeral home.
Oh.
Yeah, but even then, it'd probably be more dignified than a
Well,
sex shop.
the funeral home would be a step up because at least the patrons, the people who...
At least they keep their mouths shut.
Exactly, they don't talk.
At least they're polite. They don't hang up when you tell them that we don't have Tiny Toons. They don't go, "Okay, hang up."
Fucking hell. I always wondered who the hell frequents a shop like that. I've never seen a Weeaboo shop where I live, and there's comic book stores which are scary enough, but a Weeaboo shop that has like the anime action figures of like the big triple F hits.
Love pillows, the fucking.
I mean, you've seen some of the resin. You've obviously seen the resin action figure.
Yeah, we sell them.
They're like bent over, and you can undress them, and you can unclip the front, and it's like fucking hell.
Yeah, we sell those. We also sell body pillows, and somebody the first day called in to ask if we had this body pillow, some anime chick in stock, and we're like, no, and he was sad.
Do you have an anime body pillows, a little
Oh,
bit
yeah,
of lube, and a
and
box
then-
cutter to create a hole?
Some other motherfucker called or like emailed, and he's like, "Where's my package? It was supposed to be delivered yesterday. My patience is running thin." And I'm like, what the fuck?
I've been trying to keep an erection for the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
But
that's my new job.
The guy ordered himself the fucking lube, Viagra, some probably cheap wine that he thinks is fancy. He put on some. He sprinkled some rose petals on his bed. He put on some George Michael music, Careless Whisper, and meanwhile, his love pillow has yet to arrive. Do you know how blue his balls are by this point?
I'm never gonna fap again.
Guilty feeling got no rhythm.
You know it's easy to pretend that you're a real girl.
Holy shit.